What's up, guys? Joel, importsauce.com. Let's go ahead and do a whole series on getting this thing taken apart. We're gonna go ahead and rip everything apart, all the stuff on the outside off, start taking this thing into a whole bunch of pieces and get it ready for the machine shop. So stick around and we'll show you what we do. Okay, starting off, lower inlet manifold. Whether you have the Elevate or whether you have the factory, it is 6 bolts, which are 10 millimeter, 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom, and then this little return hose, boop, should just slide off, it's not that tight. And then when coming off, this return breather goes through, so you can either loosen it here and fish it out, or same thing, pop it off the top and you'll fish it up through. Okay, that is off. Only took a few minutes. One thing we had to get, and you probably will too, is going to be the swivel. Some of these are kind of hiding behind stuff, so you definitely will need that. And this is going to be, I think, the 3rd bag and tag. We've done it once or twice before, which is the AC compressor or power steering line and the alternator bolts. But there's going to be probably 100, 200, 300, I don't know how many nuts and bolts. So I just started off with a whole bunch of little sandwich bags, and we just keep everything together. When we get over here and we don't have anything to stick the bag of bolts in, then what we're going to do is use yellow Scotch tape, which we have sitting around in here, and then a Sharpie. We just write what it is and stick that onto the bag, and that way when you're going back, you know what's what. Forgot to mention, this gasket was pretty much new when we got the well, it was brand new when we got the lower inlet, but we save everything. Even though we have a new kit coming that has all the gaskets, or we actually already have it up there, we like to compare everything that comes off with everything that goes back on and save it, just in case maybe one of the kits comes, oh, it doesn't have all the bolts, or it doesn't, you know, whatever it is. Save everything until you've put about 500 miles on your car. Next thing, let's attack the PCV. Those look like 10 millimeters as well. I see 1, 2, 3, and I saw a 4th one hiding, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll let you know if we find anything else. I'm gonna go ahead and lay a little rag there, because I bet you there's gonna be some stuff that juices out. Okay, well, that was easy. It was 4 10 mils, and I flipped it around just so we could see that a gasket, or yeah, a little rubber O-ring, rubber gasket on there. So that is going to cover this, and that. That guy is the oil temp sensor, or the oil pressure sensor, sorry. And we know those are our NOx sensors, nothing to do with it. Oil dipstick is that one right there. And the only bolt that's on the front, we saw this in a previous teardown, this is actually the oil dipstick tube holder. So that was easy enough. And we will go ahead and stick these 4 in a bag, and sandwich bag, and then I'm going to stick this and that bag into a disposable grocery bag and put that aside. Next up, thermostat housing, 3 10 millimeters, 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and get that off. Easy enough. There are 3 10 mils, very long. Here is the thermostat housing, as you can see, and then right inside we have our thermostat. We do have a new one up there. I don't know if it was preloaded. We bought an extra thermostat, so when we put it back together, it looks like we'll take these 8 mils, open that up, stick our new thermostat in there, and then we're also going to pull this gasket, if we can, and keep it with, there we go, keep it with this. We have a freezer bag for this. We're not going to label it because we know what that is, but stick it all in there. Again, save it so we can compare what we get and what's going on and new out of the box. Next up is going to be the starter. Easy enough, two 13 mils, 1 and 2, but these 13 millimeters actually serve as brackets for other things. So to get the actual 13 mil behind it, first you're gonna have to take this nut with the lip on both of these off, and then once those are off, then you should be able to get those two, and then the starter is going to slide out, and then we will actually be able to put those bolts right back into the starter threading, and then that way it's all accounted for. Okay, starter is off. We actually had to pull the clutch line because we had to get a deep socket on here and it was kind of in the way. You know, I guess we'll just keep that with the tranny for now. And here's what it looks like. The long bolt and then the extra one that goes on top. There was some bracket on there, like I mentioned. We're not using it. It was like some moon-shaped or wire harness, or we're cleaning that up, but we just left those there in case anybody needs them in the future, or we need them in the future, but we are not going to bag and tag this because everything is essentially right here. So we're just going to put that aside and we will move on to looks like alternator next. Let's take a look at the alternator. Okay, so we see the bracket for it. One, I'm not going to be able to easily get that, so I think we're going to pull it off the bracket, which will be one there, and probably you know what, we're just going to start taking bolts off and see how it kind of juices out, and then we'll let you know. Okay, so we got that off. The alternator actually goes on one screw through there, beep, two, here, boop, and that is going to be these three. The shorter one, you notice there's two long, and one just a smidge shorter. The shorter one goes sideways up top, two long ones. These three here were the top of the bracket, 1, 2, 3, and then there's actually two more that were down here, and that whole thing comes off, and our two belt tensioners are actually on there. So we have new ones of these. I don't know if we got a new one for this because this one just went back on, but we'll put this aside, bag and tag these. Alternator will just sit by itself, and then we'll keep moving away. Okay, so we're coming over to the back. We're gonna do hard pipe for the coolant, which will be 110. There's another one hiding up here if you can't see it. And then two hose clamps. And it looks like that thing just kind of slides in there. So I'm guessing once those are off, this whole unit will kind of pop out. And then what I'm going to keep an eye on is any gasket that is in there, because I don't know that we ordered that. And let's take a look down here. And where are you? There's probably one on there as well. Those are the two places where it enters into the block. So we're going to want to pay attention. But it looks like a couple 10 mils. Okay, so the hard pipe is off. It was two 10 mils. One is the smaller one, which was for the bracket there. This other one is actually not part of the hard pipe. That is, I thought they were all connected. That's its own little hard pipe that goes there down to the return or feed for the cooler. So that's its own little hard pipe there. That'll pop off. Sliding this guy out, kind of just had to yank it outwards. I don't see any gasket that was in there. I don't see any gaskets there, and nothing fell off, so that's interesting. We'll have to look up and see if there's a part number for that, and then we'll go ahead and just pull that guy off as well, and then we'll keep all of those together. Next up, carrier bearing bracket, 3 bolts, 2 13s on the top, 1, 2, and 1 10 mil, boop, boop, on the bottom. Next we got, down off the oil pan is the oil cooler. So it looks like, where's our finger? 1, 2, and over on the other side, 3, 4, T35s. Okay, so we got that off, it popped off. and started juicing, so be ready for that. And if we look closely, you'll see that there are two O-rings, and I don't remember that I ordered a kit that had that, so I'm going to go ahead and add that to the parts list as well as getting those O-rings for that. Okay, we are over on the side. Let's start taking accessories off. This is a bracket, motor mount bracket there, but also engine hoist. The problem is you got 1, 2, 3 on the front and 1, 2 on the side, but if we look close, it goes behind the timing, so we're not gonna be able to mess with that yet. Let's go ahead and get the pump off, tensioner for the pump, and see where that leads us. Okay, well, actually, yeah, I didn't want to do this. So what we have is 12 and 10s all the way around. Obviously the belt's in the way. I was holding on, but let's go ahead and let's just cut it. That is going to release finally the TDC from the bottom to the TDC to the top. If I change my mind, I will let you know, but I think we're at that point where we can release the TDCs. Okay, 710 mils, got the water pump off. Look in there. Oh, okay, so that's where that other guy goes, that hard line that we looked at a little bit ago. Comes right in there. Coolant comes through there and goes bzzz, bzzz, you know, and shoots it out. This gasket is pretty much out. It's still kind of there. It's falling apart. When I hot tank it, I'm sure that's going to clean that up. So again, 710 mils, and that comes off. And then lastly, we'll go ahead and hit this tensioner for the water pump with the 12. Next, we have just this pulley. Looks like 1, 2, 10 mils. Let's go ahead and get that off. Okay, I think we're as far as we want to go on this side right now. We have this plastic plate. We got some 10 siding in here. I think this was all at one point one piece. That's separated. I don't think that's supposed to be that way. Also right back in there. I was looking and researching this piece, and I think I found it, and it is going to be included in the parts summary. But I think what we want to do now is go up top so that we can get everything off the cover, and then start getting into pulling these out of the way, which will then free this up. So we're actually going to hop up top and play this game. What are these 10s? Yeah, you know, about 40 of them, 45, I don't know. So we're gonna bring it off with these two guys on there, this still on there. We have a whole replacement for this timing cover already up there that's been painted and ready to go. But what we're gonna do is, when I pulled that one at the junkyard, I found using that to break it, and then hooking on an attachment to zip this out, because there's so dang many of them. Right, you have 2 on each side there, 1, 2, then you have 2 there, 2 there, a whole row along the outside, and then 4 around each of where the coil packs are going to go. So that's quite a bit. So we're going to do that, and then we'll let you know when we got this thing off. Okay, that was about 2 minutes. Makes easy work when you you know, attach your 10 in. Problem is, I got a little too crazy with the angle on these last two, and wasn't planning on buying these, but cam position sensors, looks like I'll be adding those to the list.
This T5 engine rebuild is brought to you in part by IPDUSA.com. IPD is Import Sauce's go-to for anything we need maintenance or repair on any of our Volvos. One reason we like them: the My Garage feature, where you can add all your Volvos and then quickly shop for particular parts for that vehicle. When you click on anything, it will give you an alert letting you know that this does fit. If there are fitment issues, you will get an alert when adding to cart, and this will let you know what exactly to check out before. This will ensure that you are getting exactly the right part for your Volvo. Second thing we love, kit builders. Here, for popular items, you can get the option to build a kit by adding on additional components that may be related. In many cases, you'll have options for genuine Volvo, or for a more budget-friendly shopping cart, you can add aftermarket. So, when you're going through, you can either select or not select certain components and make sure that you're getting exactly what you need. Lastly, customer service. Their customer service is great. They are US based here on the West Coast. Anytime we call the phone number, a real live Volvo owner and daily driver answers the phone and works with you on any product questions or help with your shopping cart. If you're getting your parts anywhere else, go ahead and check out ipdusa.com.
Okay, we just kind of pop that thing off. Looking in here, we get all these gaskets and seals brand new with the head gasket kit, so we're good there. And then I was going to pull these off, and I thought, oh, you know what, I need to go ahead and mark these intake, and I was looking for some, you know, easy identifying factor. Didn't see anything jump out at me, and so I said, okay, I'll go ahead and just put an I for intake, an E for exhaust, and I said, oh, wait a minute, I and E. I must have done that when we did the timing belt, you know, I don't know, 500 miles ago or whatever it was. Okay, so what we'll do is get those cam gears out and just set them aside. And I do see a mark here. There, little triangle. I don't know if that means anything or if this one has something similar. I do see some markings on there. But yeah, just make sure that you mark your guys so you know who's who, because just quickly looking at them, it's not easily identifiable. I'm sure there might be something you can see to say, oh, okay, yeah. So we'll get these out of the way, figure out how we're going to store them. We have a special project here. We're going to get these all taken apart, cleaned up, and probably do some kind of custom paint scheme on these since we're leaving these exposed. But that will now let us get back over to the side where we can pull this bracket and maybe start looking at this plastic housing. Okay guys, that was the motor mount bracket. We have 3 13s here on the side. They're all the same length. And then over on the side where it goes into the front, we had a 13 up top, and then we had a 10. Sorry, 13 up top, 10 on the bottom. So total of 5 bolts. We'll bag and tag that. Okay, we just took this plastic cover off. I do believe this was probably one piece as it came, but you can see it's kind of 3 pieces now. We'll look at that as it's on the parts list. 3 10 mils, right? We have 1, 2, and then one of them is a little bit thicker of that spacer base. That one is the bottom one that goes in right here. And then I was looking, I was like, oh, that was the first time. I do believe that is our oil pump. So that's cool, yeah. I'm glad we ordered a new one because there's no point in using an old one when you're doing a build like this. So now that cover was off, this little hard line return coolant that goes from the back to the front comes off. We'll just set that aside. And at this point, you know, I'm really wishing that I had that old garage, you know, that 3.5, 4-car garage, because I'm gonna have to lug all this stuff up the stairs to the house. So you know, we'll keep going. 12 head bolts. Let's hop into it. I am looking at the size. They look like I don't know, I'm gonna guess 15, but let's go ahead and see what happens. Get those off and see if we can pull the head, make some room, stick it over here. Okay, head is off. 12 14 mils. Had to use big guy breaker bar, the whole thing. Got that off. Taking a look. That's what we're looking at. See some build up, but not seeing like anything hit inside there. And then we got some build up and some, you know, kind of residue in these, but not seeing anything jumping out there. So I guess at this point we're at the point where we take the tranny off flip this thing over and then get the oil pan bezel baffle thingamadoob off. So I think we'll call that. That was one day. We started here. All of this, over these, and some of that. A whole bunch of stuff sitting over there. I looked up in between the oil cooler. Thing's only like 40 bucks, 50 bucks. So we're gonna go ahead and just get a brand spanking new one. We ain't slapping that old dirty one full of gunk on there. Tranny comes off, oil pan, and then it looks like we got a timing belt, kind of like a little cover here for the bottom that will come off. Looks like a couple tins. You know, go from there. So we'll pick back up then. Okay, we're back. I figured we still got about an hour and a half of some daylight, so go ahead and get the tranny off. What I'll do is I'm just gonna start up top, start at 12 o'clock and work counterclockwise, lay the bolts out in the particular pattern that I took them off, because I remember a lot of these were of different size when we did the M66 swap. And then I do remember there are a couple on the back side there. There's my finger, 1 and 2, and there may be, yeah, some on the back side, and hopefully not too deep underneath there, but from what I remember it was like maybe 12 or so. So looks like maybe a 13, and we'll start getting that. Okay, got the tranny off, bolts. Wasn't too bad, a combination of 13s and 14s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just 10, easy enough. So I start at 12 o'clock and I work counterclockwise, and the orientation down or up is how they will either go in or from the back through. So just kind of an easy way that we can remember. Just did a quick look, right? I mean, this tranny's brand new swap, so the slave looks good. There's no juice. All that oil is actually just leaking from up top where we had spilled some oil down through from the head, but everything in here was bone dry. A little bit of residue here, but this is oil. It's not tranny fluid or anything leaking from here. But again, we're going to clean this all up. It looks like where it went into the angle gear, everything is looking good. There wasn't any residue or seepage or anything down in there. So we did have a little bit of a leak or a juice, and I'm guessing that it was tranny fluid coming out, so we're going to get new seals there. One thing I remembered is probably get new, the clutch is brand new, the single mass flywheel by spec, essentially brand new. So I mean, normally you would, if you were going in here, but these things have like less than 1,000 miles on them, so everything looks good. We're going to pull it off. We may turn the flywheel just because, but we'll get some new bolts, a clutch install tool, the vehicle speed sensor. So tomorrow we'll probably get the clutch off, the flex plate, the flywheel, the vehicle speed sensor. Come over here, get that bracket, that timing bracket that we had mentioned, and then at that point I think we're gonna flip this son of a gun over and then get that oil pan off, right? So we still have 3 main parts here. We have the oil pan, we have underneath where the kind of, I don't know, let's call it a spacer, right through there, and then we have the main block. So you know, we're getting close, and I think we're going to be able to get to the machine shop you know, this week here. Okay, so let's try to get this clutch pressure plate off. That is going to be a 6 millimeter Allen's, and we started, but what we did is we went ahead and have to brace the crank so that it doesn't spin. 30 millimeter socket, and we'll get these 6 bolts off. Okay, that came off pretty decent. We had to add a breaker bar on there for the brace. It was jumping on us. Clutch looks as you would expect for, you know, not that many miles. Pressure plate looks okay. One thing to note is the positioning. Oh, it actually says flywheel side. So that is easy. If it does not, on yours is not labeled, then the side that has the spline protruding out is the side that goes into the flywheel. Next, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, what is that, 10-ish or so? Flywheel bolts, and I'm gonna have to go get our special torque driver socket for that, and we'll get that off. Okay, 10 T55. Got those off. Flywheel looks good. We'll go ahead and bag and tag that, put it over there. New flywheel bolts are recommended every single time, so we'd already ordered those guys up. Next off, dead center vehicle speed sensor, which was mounted right there. 2 T35s. Okay, before we flip this thing over, and what I'm going to do also is we have this little finder. I'm going to put a rag around that guy, but this thing isn't weighing too much now, so we're going to flip it over and get the bottom off. But I figured we might as well take a look here at the assembly, and it seems like, let me see if I can get it. I'm going to go here. You know, it is, everybody's moving and grooving. No issue. Nice and smooth. So, you know, I don't know. We'll keep an eye and find something. There's nothing binding or clacking. So hopefully we find the root of this noise. Okay, we're upside down. I still do not know how there's so much dang oil coming out of this thing. I wish I had some of that extra cardboard or some other stuff, or maybe I should have just left this thing over on the county road instead of on this driveway, but we'll get it cleaned up. We're gonna take the oil pan off. We have 29 10 mils all the way around the outside, and then these 4 up top we can see are long guys that go all the way down. So we're gonna break these off and crack that open and see what we see. Okay, so we have the oil pan off. Total of those bolts, just show you we had 3 different variations of bolts. The smaller one goes all the way on the outside. The longer ones we saw go on that extended part there that go down here on the flywheel side, and then these medium ones were over on the crank drive belt side. So that's the orientation there. Okay, here we are, turning. Everything's turning freely. No clacking, no sounds, no metal shavings anywhere. Bit strange, right? Guess we'll see more when we take it off. I don't know. Okay, so here's 2 things we're gonna add, or 1 thing. I don't know if the oil pump kit came with it, but we have 2 O-rings. I'll go there and there. Oh, actually, sorry, and then a 3rd one that goes there, which is here. So now we've noted that, and that should be okay. Okay, so here's what we got. All right, we spin it. No sound, but here's what we got, like side to side, right? Front to back. Let's look at our side to side. Here's 1. Okay, next thing we want to do is take off the oil pickup. It looks like we have 2 10 mils, 1 and 2. Let's make a mental note as well that we do have a O-ring right in there. So that's a total of 4 that are part of this, let's call it the oil pan joint. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we will look and see. Hopefully our oil pump kit has some of those or that. If not, we're gonna have to order those by themselves, but they shouldn't be too much. Okay, we just took off this little cover that goes right here and covers the main crank splines in there. And do notice it kind of does have a rubber on the outside, and that's all worn out, so we're probably going to track down whatever that part is and put a fresh one on there. 210 millimeters, no difference in the bolt. I think at this point there's nothing holding this top part from the block spacer. I don't know what we're going to call it. So maybe we're going to take that off. It looks like we got 12 down there, and then these ones inside. What is that? Let's see, one in each of these. So 3, 12. So maybe a total of 24 there. Go ahead and see. Okay, so 17 of these around the perimeter, right? Which is going to be these here, and then on the other side, they're kind of an extra batch recessed. So the longer ones are the outside that go around, and then the shorter ones are the ones that are kind of sunken in there. So lastly, it looks like we're going to attack those center 12. I don't know, eyeballing it. What size do we think that is? 14. Okay, we'll get those off now.
This T5 engine rebuild is brought to you in part by ElevateCars.com. If you own a Volvo, you've probably heard the name Elevate, but if you've never been to the website, you should definitely check it out. ElevateCars.com has plenty of performance and styling parts for your Volvo. Simply visit the website, find your particular model, and from there, you can dial into subcategories. One particular part that we're really excited to add from their catalog on this rebuild is the open deck sleeves. But even if you're just getting started, you can definitely find something within your budget to get your Volvo stepped up to the next level. Go ahead and check them out, ElevateCars.com.
Okay, so we got those out, 12 of those, big old pile there, and kind of did a little separation there. I noticed all goes through this lower portion, so what we're going to do is flip it over and then try to take the top of the block where the pistons reside, because that'll just be a shell rather than this bottom piece where it's all kind of connected at this point. So we'll see what we can do with that. Flip it over and maybe get some towels, try to stop so much oil stainage. Okay, so we started trying to crack this open, but we notice over here on this end it's not opening, and I'm thinking because it has something to do, something's still holding that together. So I figure, okay, let's get this this crank pulley off, and but it was just spinning. So what I did is I suited the 30 with a breaker, and then I just put 2 flywheel bolts back in, and then just opposite sides with the handles. Got it broken off. Okay, in the same fashion that we got the main nut off, the 4 10 mils did the same thing. Just put the ratchet on one side, breaker bar on the other, and then should have used a rubber mallet. Just kind of working that off, and you can see we kind of did some damage there. So we'll start sourcing a new balancer as well. And let's see, now we have access to 4 I think it was a 35 for the oil pump. So let's go ahead and see if we can get that off. Okay, as I suspected, the 4 I think it was a 35. Let's see what it says. Yeah, T30s Torx that hold the oil pump on to the outside of the block. That's actually what was keeping this together. Right now now you can kind of see real quick, you know, that thing's good. So it looks like 2 of the bolts on the top, 2 on the bottom, and that's what was holding these 2 together. So we'll lift this off and then set it aside and see where we're at. Okay, so to get it off, we had to slide the oil pump out. So what we did on that is this gear that drives the belt is actually internally splined. So we kind of just pried this out, beep, 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 and then pulled the oil pump out like that as well. And I'm trying to see if this mounts up any particular way, right? So it's going to go on the splines, but we'll probably take a look. Yeah, so it'll go back on in one way because those bolts are only going to line up in the exact way that they bolted. Okay, so we're taking a look. We're not seeing anything crazy here on these. So we have a total of 5 non-flange bearings. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 1, 5. And then this one is flange, second in from the flywheel. So same thing here. We can kind of see where it's going to go. We took a look here. Same thing. We're not seeing anything too crazy jumping out at us. These are all pretty good. We had to run to the auto parts store. We could not find the information anywhere for this triple star or triple triangle or 12-point torque. And so I bought everything from 8 to 13, and it turns out to be a 10. So yeah, it looks like, a little bit of wear. This one right here, the flanged one, looks really bad, but I'm still just looking for what was making all that noise. So we're gonna go ahead and break those off and keep them all in order, of course. 1 through 5, piston 1 or cylinder 1 starts facing the harmonic balancer. On that side, accessories, and then the cylinder 5 is closest to the transmission. Okay, I was getting worried that I couldn't find what was making all that dang noise. And cylinder 2 bearing. Look at that thing, just, that's it. Oh, it's so oily, I can't pick it up, but, no, almost, no. Yeah, you can see it coming through here. Everything's shredded. So we'll see if we got any other on there, but yeah, so what I did is I just popped those off and then pulled the cap and then kind of just pushed the piston and it just slid down. So we'll keep doing this and then pick this thing up and see if we can grab that, get those pistons. Okay, the crank is out and we took a look at rod bearing and then where cylinder 2 would be, and it doesn't look too bad. I think they're going to be able to clean that up. It's going to be and in here not too bad. So we'll see. The rest of these bearings look okay. So it looks like it was cylinder 2, and let's see, is that our guy right there? Yeah, you can see that. Now you can see that bearing. Whew. There it is. Okay, so here we go. All right, all 5 out, and crank. Looks like just that cylinder 2. Doesn't look like there's anything inside the sleeves. That's good. That's all out. The last thing is disassembling the the top, which will be getting those tappets out. Oh man, they're too greasy. I can't let's see, getting those tappets out, getting those retainers, popping that off. But I'm gonna call the shop because I think last time they did this head, when we did the head gasket, that they had done all that, so I'll check and confirm. But yeah, a few exterior things to get off the head, but essentially this is ready to go over there. It is completely disassembled minus the head, but I think we might be ready to take it back. So